Hey everybody, the 2023 local search ranking factors is finally here. In this video, I will show you some of the most important highlights and takeaways that'll help you rank better in Google's local results in 2023. So if you're new to the survey, let me quickly explain what it is. The Local Search Ranking Factors Survey is a survey of the very best and brightest local search experts in the world. These are the people that are doing local search, testing it, writing about it, researching it, publishing, speaking about local search. Now, the survey was originally developed by David Mim way back in 2008, and it has evolved year after year. In 2017, he handed the reins off to me, and I've been managing it ever since. So in the survey, I asked the experts to weight and rank the factors across these different factor groups. So Google Business Profile signals, on-page signals, so stuff related to your website, review signals, link signals, behavioral signals, citation signals, and personalization. So these are the 7 main factor groups. And the first question I ask them to come up with what they think the approximate weight Google's algorithm gives to each of these areas. So this is how it came out in 2023. 32% of the algorithm is given to signals related to your Google Business Profile, 19% given to what you're doing on your website, on the landing page that your Google Business Profile points at, 16% from reviews, 11% from links going to your website, not to your Google Business Profile, 8% behavioral signals, so that's things like people clicking on your listing, doing branded search, spending time on your listing, engaging with your profile. 7% citation signals. So just quickly, citations are listings of your business out on the internet, things like Yellow Pages, Yelp, that kind of thing. And 6% personalization. So personalization is just like Google will know that you visit specific websites and you run specific queries. And so you're getting your own personalized results just for you on your browser, on your computer. Other people don't see the same thing. So Google adjusts its results slightly based on personalization. And then it's really helpful to see how those weightings have changed over time. So I've been tracking this since 2015, and we can see that in these editions of the Local Search Ranking Factors Survey, back in 2015, Google Business Profile signals were not as strong as on-page signals, but we can see that shift happening. So it increased quite a bit up until 2021, and now it's actually gone down a little bit in 2023. And then we can see that website signals have been growing in recent years. Review signals, they've stayed roughly the same. Link signals have been decreasing in importance, and we also see citation signals had some pretty big decreases, but they've been fairly steady over the last 3 editions of the survey. And then the next thing I asked the local search experts to do is to score every single ranking factor. There's actually 149 different ranking factors, and so the contributors have to score them between 0 and 1. 0 meaning it has no ranking impact, 5 being the maximum amount of ranking impact for the factors. And then in aggregate, I add up all the scores and we get to see what are the most important things. And so I'll quickly read you the top 10. These are the things that have the biggest impact on your local pack, local finder, local maps rankings. So primary category on your Google Business Profile, that comes in as number 1. Having keywords in the business title, this has always been a major factor. Number 2. Proximity of address to the point of search. So being close to the person that's searching, Google puts a lot of weight on that, especially since the vicinity update. Being located in the address that the person is searching in, that's important. Removing spam listings through spam fighting. This is a tactic you can use to move your rankings up by removing the spammers above you. Having good Google ratings, filling out your additional categories. Getting lots of Google reviews, verifying your Google Business Profile, and proximity of address to Centroid. This is similar to the proximity one there. And so I'm not going to go through all of them. You can certainly see the survey and go through all this. I encourage you to look at them all. So now let me take a moment to talk about some of the things that are new in this year's survey that I didn't do last year. So one of the big things I did is I overhauled the survey structure. In previous years, the local search experts would have to pick 20 of the factors that they think are the most valuable, drag them over to the right-hand side, and then sort them in order of importance. So each contributor only really got to select 20 factors. This year, the survey has been restructured where they have to score every factor. Here's the factor. How much weight do you think that has for local pack rankings? How much weight do you think that factor contributes to organic rankings? And what is the conversion impact? Another thing that we test in this survey is we want to try to understand which factors have a big impact on conversions, because it's not always just about ranking. It's like what factors will help you get more people to pick up the phone and call your business, click to your website, click the driving directions. How do we get people to convert from your Google Business Profile? That was a big change this year where people are now scoring every single factor. And because of that change, we now actually don't have to specifically ask about local SEO myths. The ones that don't really impact rankings, those are the local SEO myths. Those are the things that people think have an impact on ranking, like geotagging photos, but don't actually have an impact on rankings, according to the opinions of the experts in the survey. I always used to ask the question, what are the factors that can be harmful to your rankings? So Yann Gilbert pointed out that a lot of these factors aren't necessarily harmful to your rankings, but they can get your listing suspended. So I actually have a new grouping on the survey this year, so you can see what are the factors that might hurt your rankings and what are the factors that could get your profile suspended. Another hot topic in local search recently is local services ads. So I asked the participants this year that if they manage local service ads, what are the signals they see that seem to impact your rankings in the local service ads packs? I then took that data and I counted the number of times people mentioned the specific factors. And so I've given you a nice chart here where you can see how those local packs are generated and what seems to impact the rankings on those local service ad packs. So this would give you some advice if you're running local service ads on what are the things you need to do to improve your rankings in the local service ad packs. And another major hot topic across digital marketing of all realms right now is AI tools. And so I asked the participants how they're using AI to help with local search. And I did the same thing where I extracted the information from their answers and put it into this table for you, and I counted up how many times. And so it's really interesting to see this because I don't think that the things at the top of this table are as interesting as the things at the bottom of this table. So at the bottom of this list, you're going to find some of the most interesting ways that the local search experts are using AI tools. All right, so what are some interesting highlights and takeaways from this year's survey? So one of the things are new factors. Every year I remove factors, rename factors, and add some new ones. Some of the new factors that I added jumped pretty high up in the rankings as important things that you should be doing. Coming in at number 13 is sustained influx of reviews over time rather than bursts. And so this factor is speaking to like making sure that you're continuing to get reviews over time. Google can tell if you get 100 reviews overnight and then you don't get any more reviews for another few months, that doesn't really look good. So this is a very interesting factor, and the takeaway there is to make sure that you're always asking for reviews on a continual basis. And number 24 is an interesting new factor I added this year, which is internal links to the Google Business Profile landing page from other pages of your website. So this is more applicable for a multi-location type business where they have their Google Business Profile pointed as a very specific location page. And so that location page usually doesn't have as much authority as, let's say, the home page. And so making sure that throughout your website, all your service pages, other pages of your website, you are linking to the location specific pages. That helps give those pages authority, the pages that are actually linked to your Google Business Profile. So that's a very interesting factor, and I'm glad to see that coming in pretty high on the list at number 24. Now let's talk about some of the factors that have increased in importance from previous years. So one of the ones that really stands out to me is proximity of address to centroid. This factor had a 360% increase from position 36 in 2021. Now it's up to position 20. And I think this is a reflection of the vicinity update that happened in December 2021, which is shortly after I published the 2021 local search ranking factors. And so with the vicinity update, Google has tightened up the proximity radius that a business can rank in. And when we say proximity address to centroid, we're talking about search terms that actually have the city name in them. So if you did like Plumbers Denver, Google is more likely to center it on the actual centroid. Or if you're searching from outside of the city, then the centroid actually plays a pretty big role in those types of queries. This factor also made a huge move this year. This is quantity of inbound links to your Google Business Profile landing page from locally relevant domains. And the key part of this factor is the locally relevant domains. Local search experts know that when it comes to links for local businesses, domain authority is not what matters. It's the local and industry relevance that matters. And that's what we're seeing happening here, where a factor has moved up significantly because there's been a shift in thinking and a realization that these local specific links are really valuable. They have a great impact on your ranking. So the takeaway there is go and get links from local specific websites. Factor number 14, having a dedicated page for each service, moved up 186% from position 40 up to position number 14. This one always should have been at the top in my opinion. Having a dedicated page for each service is very important, and so I'm glad to see that get more prominence near the top of the list. Now I want to talk about some of the factors that actually decreased in importance this year. One thing to highlight is that at the very bottom of the list, the ones that actually had the biggest drop were mostly link factors. And this jives with what we're seeing in the factor group weighting. So basically a lot of these link factors seem to be less valuable, less important than the local search experts used to think that they were. This is a very interesting one. Keywords in native Google reviews. This factor took a plummet from position number 9 down to number 34. And I think that this is mostly being driven by recent research from Sterling Sky. They ran some tests and they found that having the keywords in the review did not seem to impact rankings. Now I have some strong thoughts about this. I think that you still always want to ask for keywords in the reviews because they have many conversion benefits. One, they can drive review justifications. Two, they can drive place topics. 3, when people search the reviews for specific things that they're looking for, then it'll help it to come up. Or when they just browse and they see that your reviews are talking about the thing that they're looking for, that can help drive conversions. And I also would say that this is just one test. I like one test. One test is great, gives us more information than 0 tests, but I would like to see more tests. So those are just a few highlights that I identified in this year's survey. There's so much data, so much to explore. So be sure to check out all the factors. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can access the survey through the URL in the comments. And a huge thank you to all of the participants. This survey is a lot of work for them. So thank you for putting in the hours to complete the survey and share your local search knowledge with the community. Please let me know what you think and if you have any questions. See ya.